And you're definitely going to want to stay tuned today, guys, because we've got something very, very special to show you.
All right, guys. We've got another set of matches here. Miguel and Zuppi, 1v1. You can see the bracket. Europe East, Escape Champions League. It's Killer B. We will be working on these with Zach, and we're going to do them live. I'm a co-caster, so I'll be following his lead. I hope you enjoy the video. Just a little patience, guys, and we'll be ready to go.
Right, just going to do a quick check with the Spanish guys, make sure they're ready for the next game as well. Don't do this to us. So, Killer B, if you're there, maybe we can talk a little about Miguel and Zuppi here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was looking into Miguel and Zuppi. I think it's a really interesting matchup. Both guys are around 2,300. I was asking the Viper who he thinks is the best 1v1 player from Finland, and I think he was saying Zuppi. If I remember right, we had a conversation. He said when Zuppi's in shape, he's an extremely difficult guy to take on 1v1. Miguel, of course, is a legend of the game, really good on a lot of maps, Arena, Arabia, you name it. Miguel is a beast. So this series is a toss-up for me. I don't know who's favored in the chat, but for me, it's anybody can win this one. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Miguel was one of the guys that always played out of his mind during the Nations Cup. I would almost say, carried his team in a lot of those games. So I think he's a phenomenal player. But then again, you know, Zuppi, one of the best out there as well. One of the, I would say, primary players, let's say, for Suomi. But without any further ado, we're going to launch into our first match between Miguel and Zuppi here. It is going to be Baltic again, and the home map, I believe, of Miguel as we go into this one. And this time, Killer B, it is going to be an Italian war. This makes sense to me. This is what I understand.
Yeah, Italians war on Baltic. It would not be Escape without this. This is going to be, well, the two best civs, or the best civ for this map. It will be Zuppi and Miguel, best of three guys, coming your way right now live on Escape. Zach, have you cooled down the excitement enough to, like, lose the giddiness, or are you still pumped out of your mind right now?
Yeah, it's kind of gone a little bit, you know, once you get into the routine, because we've done this, I mean, I don't know, I've probably cast like over 1,000 games. You kind of just get into the routine of it, so it helps to calm things down a little bit. Obviously, I'm still extremely excited about everything and this whole event, but I'm feeling a little bit more calm now, and that's good. Just to clarify for everyone, the map pool is a group of 7 maps, which represents Europe East, which is, of course, the theme of our first stage. But the next stage is going to be Africa, so it will be a completely different map pool. So we thought we'd add Baltic in, get that out of the way at the start of the tournament, but you'll be pleased to know, perhaps, that the maps will be extremely varied throughout the whole event. And so while we have Baltic and Scandinavia and Valley for the next couple of events, we do have a huge amount more of other maps to look forward to throughout the whole tournament. So we get a lot of variety and a lot of things to mix it up as we go along.
Yeah, it's a good thing to point out there, Zach. And while you're pointing all that out, I'm just kind of looking around at the map. I mean, every generation on this map can be a little different because the shape of the water can always be varied a little bit. In this game, it's a big pond in the center. Miguel is actually going to have a smaller stretch of land, I think, to work with, which, if he loses water, could be a real liability for him. Zuppi on his side has a little bit thicker of a piece of land. He does have some nice back resources to work with. Maybe a tiny advantage for him on the land. But Zuppi's fish, where he's going to probably put his initial dock, is not super ideal. There's not a ton of patches of fish around there. So maybe Zuppi's efficiency early on will be a bit odd. But right now, I'm watching Miguel scout coming across the map, and maybe he could put some pressure on Zuppi's villager here.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets lucky, right? I mean, it's kind of so close to the shoreline, Zuppi's TC, that is, that even if the scout does find a villager, it's at most going to delay the dock, but it probably isn't going to find a villager kill. Miguel getting a little close to the TC, avoids the arrow fire, and Zuppi now needs to wall that villager in, but it doesn't seem like Miguel is too interested in being lame today. He just actually walked straight past, and he could have very easily hit the villager, done some damage, and delayed the dock, but decides against it, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I
he
wonder
does.
why.
I don't know. He does get out of dodge there, though. Like you said, maybe he realized he couldn't put any pressure on, so why bother? Not sure, but both of these guys should be on a similar build order. 4 Vils on wood now, powering down the food. Italians can get up easier, so it is kind of useful to power down that food early. We'll see these guys probably shift into 2 docks, 3 or 4 fishing ships, probably 3, and we'll see who can win the water in the early game. Extremely evenly matched players here, Zach. Do you have any favorite out of these two? Who do you think is better on Baltic between these guys?
Oh man, I really couldn't say, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a really close game, or at least I hope it's going to be. Caster's Curse is probably going to be like super one-sided, and one player will be like extremely dominant. But no, I think it should be a close one. But I'm very interested to see how this game develops. Like we've already identified, the lake, it's very, very large. It's very square, but it's kind of shifted towards Miguel, which means Miguel has less space on the land, and that could be a problem as the game goes by, especially looking at the wood as well. Like, you look at the wood lines to the north of Zuppi's base, he's got a lot of really good wood lines there. It's going to be no problem for him to get wood this game. But for Miguel, he's got this one wood line that's pretty close to the water on the hill. He's got one to the south of his TC, and then it's, not really, he doesn't have so many options. He doesn't have as much space to work with.
Yeah, and while you were mentioning about the space, I agree with that, by the way. I did notice Zuppi with maybe about 15 seconds of idle after finishing Loom. He did have the faster time to get to Loom, but he didn't quite have the food to click up. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it does mean that Zuppi will probably be at least playing defense in the very beginning here of the Feudal Age. Both guys shifting over to gold now with 4 Vils. Second dock is on the way for Miguel, and presumably Zuppi will have a second dock soon, but we'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, well, it has to be said, this is looking already a lot closer than what we saw in the last game with Doubt versus Cool. Obviously, both players here going up within seconds of each other, both with 19 Vils. The main difference at this stage is Miguel not adding a third fishing ship. That means, of course, he's not going to have quite as much food income from the water, but he will have a little bit of extra wood since he's not spending it on a fish. So that could mean that he gets a little bit less dock idle time. It could mean he gets his third dock a little bit sooner. We'll have to wait and see, as Miguel now gets a couple of pot shots onto Zuppi's scout. Zuppi's still in the Dark Age for a few seconds, so he's being chased down and the damage is being done there. Zuppi might try and turn it, but he needs a hill bonus to win that fight now with the scouts. But he does do a quick drive-by, and he does spot the docks and sees, okay, yeah, he's got 2 docks. Don't know what else he was expecting, but he will now at least know that information.
Yeah, and those 2 docks will be pumping out fire galleys. No surprise to most people watching. Fire galleys on the other side for Zuppi. Interestingly, Miguel didn't have the wood to queue his second fire galley right away. So it's not that big of a deal that Zuppi lost a few seconds in the Dark Age. He's fine. He'll be able to defend his side. Miguel coming forward to try to snipe some fish. 80 may get some, but I think Zuppi is waiting with open arms with his first 2 fire galleys out.
Yeah, of course, Zuppi's going to be patrolling even in front of those fish for a second there as he pushes out himself. Now, Miguel, let's kind of look at his scouting. He does know where the dock is, but he does somehow manage to miss the fish as well, goes straight around them. And then Miguel runs into the 2 fire galleys of Zuppi and takes quite a bit of damage there and gives nothing back. So Miguel might send that ship back to the shoreline to be repaired, but meanwhile, he is making that play for the fish, like we said, and he will actually find one as well. Nothing Zuppi can do to stop that ship from going down.
Yeah, those fishing ships early on can be a nice little feather in your cap. They will slow your opponent's economy a little bit. But Zuppi, as you said, or rather Miguel, as you said, losing quite a bit of HP now on 2 fire galleys, losing about 50 HP from that first little foray that he had, and now losing 50 HP on the one that sniped the fish. So that's going to put him behind. I mean, those ships are kind of a liability for his navy. We're going to have to see the red player go back home and mass up a bit and try to hold off an attack from Zuppi. The beauty of this map is there's a lot of back and forth, Zach. I mean, people are going to learn to love this map, I think, because it really is fun to watch.
Yeah, you get a lot of back and forth. You get a lot of fire flying through the air as well. But like you said, Zuppi should have this initial advantage since he got the first damage onto Miguel's ships without taking much in return. Here comes the demolition raft as well. It stops, but it needs to get in there. This is where the micro aspect has to come in. Like, you have to split your ships apart, otherwise you end up tanking some massive demo hits. And speaking of massive demo hits, that could have been bigger.
That's a good one.
But Zuppi will get quite a good value for that demo raft there as another one comes in and Miguel has to split. And that's a good example of where the splitting comes into play. Because one demolition raft going into one fire galley is not a good trade. It has to hit 2 or more in order for the demolition raft to be worth it.
Yeah, and both guys
Like
now.
that.
Ooh. Oh, there you go. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, right now that little exchange looks good for Miguel. His number is it's 5-3 at the moment. Both guys still sending resources, or rather army forward. I think Zuppi needs to go back home and mass up a bit more. But
Go home, Zuppi. You're drunk. You can't be out here with your single demolition raft and your single fire galley and expect to get anything done. What is this? A bad trade. That's what that is.
I don't want it to overextend too much. I think he's got to mass up a bit at home and be ready for the next fight. For now, neither guy landing a ton of damage. We did see one fishing ship go down. We did see both navies with a 7, both players with a 7 kill death. Miguel has added in 4 farms already. Zuppi has yet to have to add in a farm. So a little bit of wood spent from Miguel on his side of the map. As far as resources go, though, both guys are spending it as fast as they can get it. Nobody's going up anytime soon.
No, as far as I can tell, Zuppi pushed some deer which might have had something to do with that as well. But Zuppi also won the scout fight as well here. He got the scout victory with 1 HP, and he's actually using this now to come forward with a villager because he knows Miguel lost his scout. He can't see this coming. Now, Miguel, I don't know if it's just his spidey senses tingling, but he's already preparing a barracks and an archery range at home. He's probably thinking, well, the water seems to be going quite well. Zuppi's score is quite low. Maybe Zuppi's not investing in the water, and maybe Zuppi's trying to do something on the land. And that hunch seems to be right, as Zuppi drops an archery range just outside Miguel's base here. And the fight on the water continues. Should go the way of Miguel, but it's going to be kind of close.
Yeah, Zuppi is continuing to actually dive in now with his navy and snipe a couple of Miguel's fire ships, so that's going to be a nice little bit of damage there from Zuppi. As you said, 1 archery range is down for Zuppi already. 2nd archery range is on the way for him. Go ahead, Zach.
Just saw a really good demo hit from Miguel there. That's exactly what you need to do. Hit 3 ships, huge value for money. He'll clean up the rest, and meanwhile, he did lose a couple of fish to 1 fire galley from Zuppi at the back. But yeah, he's going to be prepared for this on the land, like you say. Zuppi going for the 2nd range now in the south.
Yeah, Blacksmith coming up from Miguel. He has the 1 archery range down, and he has 1 archer out. He might be thinking about a transport. He is actually queuing a transport ship now. So if Zuppi times this right, and I guess it would kind of be lucky timing, he might walk in as those archers are getting transported across the pond, which could be really bad for Miguel.
Gosh, that would be huge, wouldn't it? I mean, Miguel would have to turn the transport ship around. It looks like Zuppi could be going in a little bit too soon. Obviously, Zuppi doesn't know that he's going in too soon. We do. The transport ship isn't there yet, and the archers are still there ready to defend. But Miguel will now be pushed off of wood. This could create an opening for Zuppi to retake an advantage on the water, right? I mean, both players have invested into an archery range. Both players have invested that wood into making like a transport ship, archers, skirmishers. Zuppi pushing Miguel off of wood is huge. Wood is such an important resource in this map. This could even allow him to pull back on the water as well if Miguel can't afford to train any more ships.
Yeah, Zuppi will add in a couple skirms and a tower. We do still have fletching for our blue player. Fletching did just finish up for Miguel. So Miguel trying to defend with a couple skirms and archers, but Miguel blundering a villager here. Sent a villager back out to chop wood on that wood line that's already been knocked down, and he's going to lose that vill. And it's a very good point, Zach. That's the beauty of this map. When you can take a little advantage in the eco department, you can win back the water, and Zuppi here might have a chance to make a push on water after his push on land.
Yeah, absolutely. But it shouldn't go without saying that Miguel is already up to the castle age, and he's going up way faster than Zuppi, who hasn't even clicked up yet. So the window of opportunity that Zuppi has to do damage now is starting to close steadily. As Miguel will reach the castle age, he'll be able to do the crossbow upgrade, maybe even the elite skirmisher upgrade, since he's got more skirms out than archers right now. But he should have an easy time, in theory, defending this aggression on the land now, as Bodcanaro comes in, and Zuppi just is going to be up to the castle age for some time. Even if he clicks up in the next few seconds, that castle age timing might just be too slow.
There's a disturbance in the force, Zach, inside of Zuppi's base right now. He's got a couple of archers, soon to be Bodkin Arrow, maybe continued upgrades coming in for Miguel there. Miguel grabbed one villager, but he's basically, Zuppi's got a chain of villagers chasing after these couple of archers. There is a new range back at home for our player in blue and one skirmisher out, but Zuppi here is going to sustain some damage, and Miguel's tower in his own base basically stops Zuppi's damage from coming in, and Miguel gets a big advantage with those 3 archers.
It stops it spreading, doesn't it? And now Zuppi's had to build that archery range at home as well. He's lost another villager. He's sending an archer over. He's building a couple of skirms, but Miguel's got huge value out of these 3 archers. What a nice little attack, and he's going to walk away. Really nicely done.
Yeah, Miguel getting a lot of value, a lot of annoyance there. It doesn't look like the best rating you've ever seen in your life, but it is really, really strong rating for a very small investment. Our player in red, Miguel, continues to flesh out both his navy, which is bigger than his opponent, and probably we'll see a little more military from him as well. Second town center coming already for Miguel, and Zuppi has just now started the Castle Age upgrade, so he is going to continue to be behind on villagers, probably tech, and probably military, at least for the time being. What do you foresee Zuppi doing here, Zach, to try to get back in the game?
Well, I'm again very surprised Miguel's sort of throwing those villagers away toward the tower there. That seems like a silly mistake to make. But yeah, Zuppi, it's not going to be so straightforward, is it? I mean, by the time he reaches the Castle Age himself, Miguel should be ahead in villagers, and he should be quite comfortable in his economy. Zuppi, on the other hand, he could try and stay on 1 TC. I don't know if he's still got the villager on the front. He could go for a siege workshop and try and siege that town center, for example. Not sure if he's still training archers at the moment. It looks like he is. So yeah, maybe just try and take the bigger advantage on the land. Alternatively, he could try and take the bigger advantage on the water, but I think he can't comfortably do both. I think he has to make a decision here. Do I want to retake the water and win that, or do I want to focus on the land and go for that?
Yeah, Zuppi's taking a little bit of stone, so there could be more towers or there could be a TC coming. I don't think he's out of this game yet, but he certainly lost the first couple rounds of this particular fight. Miguel, as you said, is going to make a couple crossbows, and actually, maybe you didn't notice it yet, maybe you did, but there is a transport ship coming once again for the red player. So Miguel's keeping pressure on Zuppi's dock, and he's going to land another 3 crossbows and skirm into his opponent's eco, and Zuppi is still going to have a lot of trouble defending that because he just hit Castle Age, so he doesn't have Bodkin Arrow.
Yeah, no Bodkin Arrow, which is now coming in, but also no towers either. He built a tower on the front, remember, which means he can't build a tower at home to defend. He does now have the stone to do it, but already Zuppi does have a couple of skirms there, so he should be able to make enough skirms, I hope, to take these crossbow out. He's doing his best, but nice micro from Miguel here as well. He'll take down both the skirms, he'll take down a couple of villas, he'll even perhaps find another villager on the gold, and oh my goodness, Zuppi sending all the villagers into fight again. And if Miguel takes out this skirmisher, then it's going to be super easy for Miguel to get a bunch more kills. But great play by Miguel, good micro. And yeah, Zuppi throwing away the villas right now, jeez.
Great damage from Miguel, and one of the reasons for all that damage is that Zuppi has doubled down on his forward. He dropped a siege workshop now. He's having trouble getting production going because of all that raiding in his base probably. Oh no, Zuppi's running right under Miguel's TC with those crossbows.
Oh, I didn't think he'd be making those kind of mistakes, to be honest. It's not like he didn't know the TC was there. And meanwhile, those 2 crossbow from Miguel are still doing damage in the corner of the map. This is getting ridiculous now. It's getting painful to watch. Zuppi's 10 villagers behind, and he's still chasing those crossbows down with his vills. He's still trying to make some scabs, still trying to deal with this, but goodness me. Miguel, this shouldn't be happening right now. Someone stop this madness.
Miguel is doing so much damage, like you said, with those 2 crossbows. I can't believe how many villager corpses I see laying around that back area of Zuppi's base. Zuppi has done some counter raiding, but Miguel has done a good job to cauterize the wound, building another tower on top of the hill, and now a defensive siege workshop for Miguel. So he should be able to hold his base a lot better than Zuppi. It's going to be an 8 villager advantage for Miguel. He's also killing Zuppi's docks. He's killed Zuppi's fish. Zuppi made a risky play, Zach. He wanted to continue the pressure on the front with the forward siege workshop. Because of that, he couldn't defend at home, and Miguel diced him up with those crossbows. It's still possible for Zuppi to bring this one back, but it is looking like a dark road to go down.
Yeah, but this is exactly what you should expect, right? When you've lost the water and you build your forward archery ranges, you have to expect, or at least anticipate, that you're going to get landed with something at some point. And Zuppi just took way too much damage from such a small number of crossbows. And I don't see him doing any comparable damage in return. Right now, I think, he's not killing enough villagers. He's not doing enough damage back here. And of course, now Miguel has a mangonel as well, so he can start to defend this a little bit easier also.
Yeah, new TC up in the west of the map for Miguel to solidify both that pinch point and to get some safe wood economies up. He's still diving in to do damage, but Miguel has done a pretty nice job to clean a lot of this up, and a couple of really nice mango shots there onto Zuppi. So Zuppi is at the moment without many answers. He's got a lot of problems, but not a whole lot of win conditions as his docks are continuing to basically get chewed down. His forward is in trouble. It looks like it's going to be all Miguel here from here on out.
Yeah, that's true, but Zuppi does still have a military lead right now. He does have 3 TCs as well. He's only 4 villagers behind, and Miguel, although he has won the water, he's not done the war galley upgrade, and he doesn't have any fish. Well, he has 2 fish, sorry. But it's not like the last game, where Doubt had 17 fish and his opponent had none. The economies of these players are still fairly close, and something that concerns me about Miguel's position right now is that if Zuppi does go Imperial and goes for Galleon, you can say goodbye to this whole economy on the left side of the map. That TC is gone, the wood line is gone, and all the villages there are gone as well. So there's definitely an opportunity for Zuppi to do damage if he wins the water here. And I think maybe he needs to recognize that and perhaps call it quits on his forward, on his landing, and try and think about getting the water back this game. Because right now, what does Miguel have on the water? Like a single demolition raft, 2 fish, and a single transport ship. He's hardly defending it at all.
Yeah, it is interesting as well. People in the chat were saying at one moment there, Miguel had like 25 idols. He had a few awkward moments inside of his eco that weren't ideal. We'll see if he can make up for it here. He is still in a nice position. He's going to land a couple more crossbows on Zuppi's side of the map and keep the pressure going. So Miguel is going to try to keep the pressure on with some crossbows, and it looks like for now he's going to land those over by Zuppi's stone pile.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I really dislike that Zuppi's letting this happen time and time again. I mean, I really expected him to have like 5 or 6 skirmishes at home already. But you know that your opponent's landed you twice already. Like, at this point, just make 5 skirms, and if he lands you again, you can actually deal with it. Rather than this, which is the Great Villager Shuffle, trying to get in and out of the TC to protect themselves from the crossbows. It just seems like a silly mistake to make, in my opinion. I feel like he should be more prepared for a landing after it's already happened twice.
Yeah, lots of damage, as you said, coming in on Zuppi. Zuppi does have the villager advantage. He does have the military advantage. He's getting a siege workshop down at home to try to deal with the continued crossbows dropping on his eco. We will see Zuppi also towering that western TC for our player in red, Miguel. So Zuppi's continuing to be active and annoying on his opponent. And Miguel, for all of the great things that have happened, is actually not as far ahead as I thought he would be at this point in the game. Is starting to reboom his fish, but lower Vil count, lower military count. I'm not sure, Zach. I'm not sure if he's got this in the bag as much as I thought he did.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? He had a lot of idle time, as you said before, and he's not really capitalized on this advantage so much. Zuppi, almost miraculously, has made up for a 10 villager deficit, and now he's 5 villagers ahead. I didn't see that happening, to be completely honest with you. He has killed a couple of villagers on the left side from Miguel, and that wood line is now being denied by a tower and a single crossbowman. And meanwhile, in the base of Zuppi, you've got a group of crossbows being chased down by a couple of scorpions. I mean, it's an absolute mess right now. I feel like both players are making mistakes, and both players are making great moves as well. And it's been very back and forth with these kind of landings attempts and this aggression here.
Yeah, it has been a game full of intrigue. Like you said, those scorpions inside of the base of Zuppi, those are a great choice because you don't have to worry so much about microing. Miguel's going to dodge a lot of mangonel shots, but it's much harder to dodge the scorpion fire. Our blue player for now is massing up knights on the front. He's got some crossbows to go along with them on the right side of Miguel's base. Miguel has converted a few knights that I can see. I believe those are converts, and he's keeping an eye on his opponent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that converts as well. I agree with you there. They don't really have many upgrades, or no upgrades, so For Zuppi, it's very easy to take them out with his crossbows there, and he's even going to try and convert them. Look at this. But he won't get the convert in time. But yeah, obviously once they're converted, he can heal them back up. So it's no problem if you convert a low HP unit. And there's only one unit there to convert. But yeah, Miguel now building a castle in his base. He's lost the villager lead quite considerably. He's got a lot more idols. He's lost the military lead considerably. And I think something I identified really early in this game, the wood situation for Miguel is going to start to become a problem. Zuppi is choking him out in the south. He can't get the wood lines here. He can't get the wood line in the north. And now he's got a huge wood line on the left side, which is being taken by a lot of villagers. And that's going to go very, very quickly at this rate. So I'm worried for Miguel's wood.
Worried for Miguel's wood, indeed. I'm worried for both of these guys. I'm worried about who's going to get to Imp first. Right now, Miguel is grabbing Wheelbarrow. Miguel is on 350 food, 600 gold. Zuppi just, I think, shuffled around his economy with maybe his market. I'm not sure, but he did get Imp in a kind of a weird way there. It didn't look like he had the resources, but he did what he had to do, maybe selling some resources to get up. And now Zuppi will hit the Imperial Age first, and he will have to make a decision on what to do. And it looks like he's going to try to redock. But here comes Miguel with some fire galleys.
Well, I think this is absolutely the right decision for Zuppi to make now. Going onto the water is going to be so huge. And we said it right at the start, but Miguel's map is not great. I don't think Miguel can afford to lose water here. You can see the war galley upgrade coming in. You can see the 3 docks there. And it's clear to me that Zuppi would like to get galleons out and to actually start harassing from the shoreline. And look at how much economy is exposed to the water from Miguel. It's going to be so huge for Zuppi to park a couple of galleons in the corner of the map here on the left side.
Yeah, and Miguel is going for damage on the docks. He wasn't able to stop those villagers who were building up the docks. We will see Zuppi more than likely castle drop his own dock position on the front just to solidify his ability to get those first couple ships out. Right now, Zuppi is on 700 stone, so we're looking for a castle from him soon. More docks coming in for Zuppi as well, a little bit west of that position where Miguel is attacking. So Zuppi is rebuilding up on the water. He's going to have quite a nice navy. He will have Imperial Age first by about a minute, and like you said, Miguel's map being so narrow on land is a real big liability, and Miguel's going to have to find a way to take a lot of pressure without buckling.
Yeah, well, if I had to make a bold prediction, I would say that the winning move of this game will be Zuppi's galleons killing Miguel's economy. That's just what I can see happening right here in my mind's eye. But obviously right now, Miguel going up to the Imperial Age as well. He's prepared a lot of stables. He's done the upgrades as well. He's done bloodlines. He's doing light cav. And he's got a lot of resources in the bank, actually. So I think once he gets to Imp, he's going to be ready to step on the gas with military production. I wonder why he's not making much already, though. I mean, he could be making knights already if he wanted to go cavalier, for example. He could be making light cavalry already if he wanted to go for hussar. But he hasn't got the production there for whatever reason. And here come the galleons.
Yeah, galleons on the way out for our player Zuppi. We've got war galley upgrade coming for Miguel. Miguel has hit the Imperial Age as well. Miguel is going for careening right away. He's got a couple of fire ships coming. He's trying to redock himself, but his docks are going to be challenged at least somewhat by his opponent because, of course, Zuppi with those galleons with the range can be very annoying. Military count is 30 for our player in blue, approximately, and about 20 for Miguel. So this position that I thought was great for Miguel in the mid-castle age is definitely not great for him now, Zach. What do you foresee him doing to try to get out of this pickle?
It's certainly a pickle. He's got a lack of gold at the moment, which is unfortunate for Miguel. He just isn't able to fully saturate that main gold since he's put his stable there, and his gold in the south is being denied by Zuppi, and the other gold in the south is being denied by Zuppi as well. I feel like Miguel needed to push this landing back completely during the Castle Age, and I think now that the game is in the Imperial Age, I don't think he's really going to have the opportunity to do that. He's still raiding on the other side with some crossbow, but the Scorpion defense, look at that. Working out beautifully for Zuppi right there. He'll clean that up no sweat. And Zuppi just looking too good right now.
Yeah, Scorpions are OP versus a small number of archers. We are seeing Hussar coming in for Miguel. Miguel's going to try to climb the hill versus Zuppi. Zuppi's waiting with some Arbalest, but maybe not enough Arbs right now. Castle drop for Zuppi, by the way, is next to that forward area, so that's going to go up, actually, even though just one villager is building that castle.
Yeah, there's a lot going on all over the place because while that was happening, Miguel pops out of his docks with some fast fire ships, and that's enough to put Zuppi back on the water. It's nice, or sorry, put Miguel back on the water and send Zuppi back to his docks. But I like that Miguel did go for the fast fire ships, and he recognized so quickly that, oh crap, I need to defend this. Like, look how exposed my eco is over here. And so yeah, he's pushing out with the fast fires now. Zuppi's pushed back toward his docks, and it's going to work out quite well for Miguel, as Zuppi did make some demolition ships, but they weren't too effective. Meanwhile, Miguel is going to try and push back on the south and even take the gold there, but he's not grabbing it at all because Zuppi has got the Arbalest on the hill, the Genoese crossbow there as well, and quite frankly, it's not going to be simple for Miguel to take that gold back, but he needs to one way or another.
Yeah, Miguel here he's choosing his time to push out. I don't think he can wait much longer. He's got the trash unit, the Hussar, out on the map. He's trying to do a little bit of annoyance. He's trying to push that hill back in a cost-effective way versus Zuppi. But Zuppi continues to squeeze that gold pile to the right of Miguel's base. Miguel is on 201 gold right now, and I don't see that number ticking up very quickly. Just a couple of gold miners left for him. Zuppi can win this war by attrition as long as he doesn't lose any major battles in the next few minutes.
Yeah, but I've got to give credit to Miguel here, like, you know, going into Hussar, dropping them across right now into the economy of Zuppi on the other side. He's recognized that gold is going to be a problem, and he's prepared well in advance for it. The Hussar coming over with +4 defense. Sure, he doesn't have all of the attack upgrades, but he's doing damage with them. And on the left side as well, he's regained some control there as well. Back on the wood line now, and even building a castle to try and secure the next wood line. And this is something that Miguel's done very well this game, and something that Miguel has had to do well this game. And that's forward planning, forward thinking, conserving resources, and making sure that he's not going to be caught foul by so many of the traps that he could fall into in this one.
Yeah, Miguel is giving it the best push that he can here to try to win this back. 8 gold miners for our red player. Needs to find a way to win back some gold economy. As you said, those Hussar raiding into Zuppi's economy, doing some really nice damage on Zuppi. Zuppi on 146 villagers, so maybe overboomed a tad.
that is what you call an economy right there. But seriously, Zuppi has like this ace up his sleeve, right? And he's got the Genoese crossbow. It's not a unit you see a lot of. It's not a really top-tier unit, but it's perfect when your opponent's making Hussar. If he can make some Genoese crossbow and just put them behind his trebs, just mix them in with his army, it's going to be so difficult for Miguel's Hussar to do any effective attack onto this army in the south. And Zuppi is going to go a little bit unchecked here in the south, while Miguel is trying to push up in the north with this Hussar there and raid some more. But Zuppi's making more castles, he's making more Genoese crossbow, and he is in a great position to defend this. Now he's got the unit that he needs.
The power of one villager, Zach. There was one villager forward early for the blue player after he sniped Miguel's scout, and all of this is from that one vill, as far as I can tell. So a lot of value out of that one guy. He's been quite the worker for his team. And now Zuppi has a honeypot army. He's saying, I'm going to treb you away from distance. If you want to come and stop me, feel free. I'll be waiting with Genovese crossbows for your Hussar. And that's a good fight for our blue player any day of the week. Miguel still is raiding inside of Zuppi's base, but the gold economy for Miguel is still that huge liability. There's one gold miner right now for our red player, and it's a really rough spot for him, Zach.
Yep, and the sell price of food and wood not looking too great either. Wood's down to 27 on the market, and food is at 46. One thing that I think could work very well here is if Miguel is able to get some galleons out. If he's able to do that, he could support his army from the water, and killing off these Genoese crossbow and Arbalest would be a lot easier for him. But right now, he's got to mix in skirms, he's got to keep the Hussar count up. Otherwise, this army will very easily push through. Fortunately for Miguel, he saves his castle. He does take the trebs and the rams down, so he's buying himself time there, and he's focused on raiding with the Hussar as best as he can. but I don't know if the best is going to be good enough, because for Zuppi, who was at 150 vills a moment ago, he's almost done him a favor by killing a few villagers off here.
What I'd like to see Zuppi do next is he's holding on to the bottom corner of the map, and there's two really important gold piles there that Miguel usually, in most cases, would take control of. Zuppi needs to send some villagers and mine those gold piles to keep his gold economy going. I'm sure he'll do that pretty soon. Siege Workshop's coming in for Zuppi. Continued Castle's coming in for him. He's ready to push both on the left side, and he's going to continue to hold on the right side. So as long as he doesn't throw here, Zuppi's looking pretty decent to me. Barracks are coming in now, and I do see a couple of pikes being added into the mix for Zuppi.
Oh, demolition ship on the shoreline. Miguel, perfect opportunity to hit a demo shot, but Zuppi moves his army away. Oh, man. That could have been huge. If he sent the demo ship here, he could have killed that whole army. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's such... If he'd have been able to do that, he would have pushed out and cleaned this whole south side of the map. That was insane. But look at this in the north. Zuppi is not seeing this gold mine up here, and Miguel has spotted it. So Miguel might be able to start getting the gold in the north, as Zuppi just doesn't see it yet. He might see it later, but right now he's got no idea. And if Miguel can take that from under his nose, it would be huge. But I think Zuppi is going to spot it in just a second. He'll see the TC going up there now.
Yeah, this has been a game of like, oh, Miguel's on his last breath all through the Imperial Age. If he can keep that gold safe, he's got a chance. Zuppi is raiding Miguel's economy a lot on the water. All of those villagers that establish new wood lines near Zuppi's base are getting knocked around by galleon fire. Our blue player has found that TC from Miguel, so that is not going to be a safe place to take gold. And Miguel has led Zuppi to that gold pile now. If he didn't see it before, he sees it now.
Absolutely, he certainly does see it now. He's sending his Hussar up there. He does not want to lose this side of the map. He sees that gold as an opportunity to get back into this game and get really in a better position than he is right now. But I'm concerned for Miguel. If Miguel loses the water, he's in so much trouble. Miguel cannot afford to lose the water at any cost this game. Too much of his economy is exposed from the water. And again, Miguel, an opportunity to use the demolition ship in the south, gone. If he... I mean, I can't get over that, right? One demolition ship here could literally change the whole game if he hits it on that army when it stands close to the shoreline. But he missed it, and unfortunately for him, he might not get another opportunity, but he will have an opportunity to raid in the north. Thumb Ring now just coming in for Zuppi. That's quite late, actually. And I'd also like to see the Italian unique tech for Zuppi as well, Pervise, or Pervase, I don't know how it's pronounced. I should know, but I don't know, as that would give his foot archers an extra armor, which would be really valuable here.
Yeah, and notably, Miguel actually did keep the villagers alive in that far north corner of the map, and he's taken a little bit of gold on that side, and his Hussar, for the moment, have been able to hold that position somewhat safe. So Zuppi, there you go, demos.
Huge demo shots from Zuppi there. Perfect. Sorry to cut you off.
No problem. Great demo shots, actually from Miguel, you mean, right? Miguel grabbing
sorry, I meant Miguel, yeah.
Grabbing a lot of damage, does knock Zuppi down on the navy count. That basically leaves both guys with very, very small navies at this point, Zach.
Absolutely. Miguel here, though, I mean, he's got the gold, but he calls it right there. Interesting. I kind of expected Miguel, after winning that fight on the water, to maybe feel a bit more, revitalized, a bit more confident that he could win the game. But I guess things were just slipping for Miguel, slowly but surely. Wood was becoming an issue. Winning out in the south was becoming an issue. And he did just lose a lot of Hussar in the north as well. His population dipping down to 133 at the end there as he calls the game. Wasn't expecting him to call it right there, but I think he made the right decision, Killer B.
Yeah, I think that game was drawing to a close. And like I said earlier in the match, I thought it was Miguel's game to win in like the late feudal age. But Zuppi battling back. Zuppi came forward after killing Miguel's scout and dropped down this entire forward area. It started with 2 archery ranges, and Miguel never was able to address that problem. And because he wasn't able to push Zuppi away from there, he loses a stone pile and 2 gold piles on the corner that he would have very much liked to have, and a nice wood line that he very much would have needed if he was going to be able to win this game in Imp. So kudos to Zuppi after some not so amazing exchanges in the early part of the game, able to basically stabilize everything, take over the key parts of the map, and make Miguel pay for having a small stretch of land here.
Yeah, really, really good summary, really good analysis of that. No, I completely agree. I think Miguel absolutely needed to take the south of the map back. He needed to do that, in my opinion, in the Castle Age or either really early in the Imperial Age, just to get control of those gold spots. By the time he found the gold in the north, by the time both players had found the gold in the north, it was just too late. So just give me a second here. Maybe you could say a few last words while I message Mem back, as I need to give him some info.
Sure, yeah, guys, a great match here to start things off. I felt like a set of matches at an hour and 3 minutes between Miguel and Zuppi. That is going to give 1 point to the Zupster. The Suomi crew will be happy to see that their buddy Zuppi able to grab that win. As I said at the onset, these guys are both around the 2300 level. They're both extremely good 1v1 players that I think stylistically they match up in an interesting way. I think of Miguel as a guy who likes to boom up and get a really solid eco going on land maps before pushing out. I don't think of him as the top water player, but I do think of him as an extremely strong water player. Zuppi is a bit of an unknown quantity for me on water, but now he's not unknown anymore. I certainly learned a lot about what he's got in the tank, coming back after really sustaining a couple of really bad exchanges early. Great game from Zuppi. He'll grab the win. This is a best of 3, guys, and this is the Europe East 1v1 stage of the tournament. It's Killer B and, of course, the guy you're hearing, the man himself, Zach, coordinating everything behind the scenes right now. So we will wait for him for a moment, and we'll jump into game number 2.
Yeah, that's right. So he does get the first game, Zuppi there. Next game will be Scandinavia. First time we're seeing Scandinavia here, as we didn't quite get to the third game of Cool versus Doubt last time around. But yeah, it was a great game. I mean, that's what Baltic is about for me. That's what a good, solid Baltic game should look like. A lot of action on land and water, and overall, really entertaining one to watch. So we'll be right back as we get ready for the next one. I'm just waiting to get the game because we had an issue earlier, which we're working on fixing right now. And yeah, we'll be back in just a sec, guys. We're just going to quickly see if the timer is working here. We're still trying to fix that, but looks like that's all good. So we'll be right back in just a second.
All right, guys, I'm muted on Zach's stream. Just wanted to, again, say thanks for being patient here. We're going to be co-casting these matches, so these are going to go straight to you guys on YouTube. I hope you enjoy seeing my point of view. I was getting a little bit of lag in that last match, so my apologies about that. I think I need to turn off the some of the content, some of the visual mods here. I think one of the problems...
All right, so don't forget to
the water animation.
Follow if you haven't already. All of the Escape Champions League will be streamed live here across the whole tournament. Make sure you don't forget to follow the channel. You'll get a notification next time we go live as well. See, we've got a lot more games to come today as we get ready to go into game number 2 here of Miguel versus Zuppi. This is just the second set. Of course, we have a total of 6 sets of games today, so loads of Age of Empires action still to come. Don't go anywhere. And I think we're pretty much ready to go into Scandinavia right now. We're just going to close out the last game, get the next one ready here. And off we go. Killer B, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, that last game was really nice, and I think it goes to show just how closely Miguel and Zuppi are in skill level there. It was a real back and forth game, and certainly an enjoyable one to watch. But we are now getting ready to go into game number 2 of Miguel versus Zuppi for the ECL Europe East 1v1 stage. This one, Scandinavia, we haven't seen this map yet. And I'm looking forward to this because it's another one of those maps. It does have an element of water. It does have an element of land. But land certainly has the priority on Scandinavia compared to Baltic, which we just saw.
Yeah, Zach, thanks again for having me, guys. It's Killer B, joined here with Zero Empires. Obviously, it is the Escape Champions League. We're kicking things off here in Europe East. It's the 1v1 set of matches that we've been watching so far today. You can see the score on your screens. It is Zuppi grabbing a win there in Game 1. Kind of in a precarious situation, but played through some really intense moments. Both guys in this match will be playing with the Mongols, which makes a lot of sense to me, Zach, with all the wild hunt on the map. That seems like a pretty good choice.
Yeah, just look at it. The middle of the map here, covered in deer, covered in boar. Scandinavia, of course, one of those maps does not have standard starting resources. There are 3 boar for each player. And Miguel immediately coming forward with his scout, does see a boar, does decide to lame it. And Miguel's going to drag that boar home, kicking, screaming, and get it under his TC. Because as the Mongols, you want all the boars you can get. Such a huge advantage to have the additional boars here.
Yeah, Zuppi saw that boar, or could have seen that boar leaving in his field of view. He could lame one of Miguel's in return, or maybe he's just going to camp out where these 2 boar are sitting to try to lame a villager. In any case, Miguel's going to get that boar in under his TC. It's all good in the hood. Nice little start here for Miguel. So the map, Zach, is usually quite open on Scandi. I think we're going to see these guys get aggressive early with some scouts. Do you expect anything other than that in this match?
Well, that's the nice thing about this map, right? It is open. It does invite for some kind of aggression on the land. A huge amount of deer in the middle of the map as well means that a mill here is going to be so valuable for the Mongols. But you also have that element of water as well, which can certainly bolster your economy. And with the Mongols on this map, it will be interesting to see, okay, will they build the dock and when? Because there is so much hunt, and that hunt is so effective for your food income that perhaps docking early is not always worth it. But a dock at some point is absolutely on the cards. It's more of a question of when and how they're going to play it out up till that point. I think you're onto something there with the scouts, though. That could certainly be something.
Well, here we go. He's been waiting a long time on Miguel's boar. He's going to try to lame a Vil, but he's just not able to do it. That seems like a big investment. I mean, it's only a couple of HP on the scout, but he was sitting there, Zach, for, 30 seconds or a minute. So he doesn't know as much about the map as Miguel does. And Miguel is still fine. Gets the boar in, gets a little HP on his opponent's scout. If it turns into a scout war, Miguel will have an early advantage.
Oh, and Zuppi just lost a villager at home as well, and he doesn't manage to grab it with the other villager standing nearby. It was quite a long boar lure, but he does miss it, and tried to block it with a quick house in the end, but yeah, I think he took a downhill shot from the boar there, and where he just didn't send the villager back soon enough, and it costs him a villager. That's gotta hurt, as Miguel now is going to be up by 1 boar, and he's the Mongols, right? You gather that much faster. It's so huge. For Miguel here, he's got such an advantage already with Zuppi being down a villager and down a boar now as well. Now Zuppi does make the dock. He does make a fishing ship, and Miguel, on the other hand, not even thinking about it, hasn't even started construction of a dock yet, as he brings his 4th boar in now, and even goes forward with a mill to take the deer. That's what I would have liked to see from Zuppi. I would have liked to see him maybe milling the deer, and I certainly would have liked to see him trying to lame the boar back rather than trying to lame the villager, because that was never going to work with the boar being so close to the TC of Miguel.
Yeah, it seems like Zuppi made a miscalculation there. It lost a lot of scouting time. Like you said, the dock versus the mill as Mongols. I don't know. I'm not a pro player, but it seems like the mill in this case is going to be great with all of those deer sitting around. We've got 8 deer now that Miguel will be taking with his forward mill. We'll also see his feudal time coming in early, a barracks on the way. Obviously, Zuppi lost the Vil. One correction I'll say is that Miguel actually does have lower HP on his scout than Zuppi, but those guys are about equal there. I was saying, Miguel's going to have a great advantage, but yeah, I was wrong on that. But anyway, I do like the decision-making here of Miguel, and Zuppi's going to be really slow, Zach, in this match. He's a full minute behind almost clicking up.
Yeah, nearly a full minute clicking up, and also a villager down as well, as we've already said. So Miguel, you can see building his barracks quite far forward, which I like. I like that decision a lot. And oh wow, Zuppi! I don't know if he realizes this, but he was blocking that stable for quite a while there. I think he knew what he was doing, but it's kind of hard to predict exactly where that building was placed. Maybe he didn't realize he was blocking it for quite as long as he was. Miguel even making a couple of spears here to go forward, so that when Zuppi does eventually reach the feudal age, his first scouts are already going to be outnumbered by spears. That's quite a scary prospect, and it looks like even continuing the lame, he's actually going to lame the deer with the spearmen here. That's just rude.
Yeah, I think it's the wise choice. This is a serious tournament. There's a lot of money and prestige on the line, and we'll even see some towers to go along with this from Miguel. So Miguel is going to make Zuppi's early attempt at taking deer pretty much a moot point. We'll see an immediate archery range from Zuppi to try to push this back. He's got to change the momentum of the game, so I guess he's going archers here right off the bat, Zach. Archers or skirms.
I didn't catch the two vills going out to the gold, but Zuppi needs to wall those villagers in, and that's an awkward gold spot to wall up. The villager there, I mean, I don't even know where she's going. It's like she was told to build the palisade wall, and she decided to walk to the TC instead. Looks like Miguel's going to kill this villager. It's going to be close. Yeah, he's going to go in and finish it off there. And although he does lose the scout, a scout for a villager at this stage of the game, absolutely worth it. And Zuppi needs to get that gold back, otherwise archer production is going to be no more. Does look like he's winning that there for now, but already Miguel, in my opinion, pulling quite a nice advantage so far. And I guess, Zuppi probably didn't want to open with archers. Certainly had to adapt his strategy to the way this game was playing out. And kudos for him for making a good call here.
Well, Zuppi showed a lot of poise in the last game at basically treading some water after some early awkward exchanges. This game will be no different. This one's probably a lot worse for him, as Miguel, adding in a range of his own, has already knocked down two villagers from Zuppi. But maybe Zuppi can stabilize this. I mean, he does have a little fishing economy going. His food is going all right. Hasn't had to seed any farms. Notably, Miguel is still taking deer, so that's a really huge advantage for him. But, maybe Zuppi can stabilize this position with some archers.
Yeah, he's going to go raid the deer villagers now. That's going to be good. He doesn't have fletching, though, and only two archers. So those villagers should be able to run away quite comfortably. But I want to highlight something that Miguel is doing now. He is raiding the wood line of Zuppi, but he's also gone and built a dock on Zuppi's patch of water, on his stretch of water. He saw the dock with his scout in the Dark Age. He's now going to come over here with a dock in the Feudal Age, and he's going to try and take out all four of those fish. The lifeline, the lifeblood of Zuppi's economy right now, as he's not taking the deer on the front, and those fish are clearly bolstering his economy. Quite an important thing for Zuppi, and if he loses that, well, he could end up losing so much in this game. We'll see what Zuppi can do here as, well, the scouts come in from Miguel and pick off another villager.
Yeah, Miguel is taking all of those deer in the middle of the map. I think he's got 6 or 7 villagers, and because of that, he can really afford to pump out scouts all day long. No big deal. He's also got some skirmishers to go along with it to defend that part of the map. His scouts continue to be active, and like you said, that forward dock producing a fire galley, and Zuppi's fish are dropping like flies. Zuppi is not going to have a response to this. He can't afford a fire galley of his own, so he's going to have to give up the fishing economy there on water.
Yeah, I think Zuppi just kind of opened the door for this to happen in a way. He didn't try and lame Miguel back. He didn't try to wall off the middle of the map and secure the deer. And his feudal time was a little bit later in the end as well, which is expected when you're down a boar, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Zuppi absolutely could have lamed Miguel back. I mean, it's not like Miguel stole a boar and that just automatically won him the game. Miguel had 3 of his own board that Zuppi could have equally have stolen. So, if you get lamed, sometimes you just gotta, as much as you might dislike to do it, you just gotta lame him back. And Zuppi didn't do that. Maybe, like you said, a miscalculation. But in the end, Miguel here gonna take back the water, even fishing himself now on Zuppi's stretch of water there. And meanwhile, 10 kills for Miguel and just 4 deaths. Really nicely done so far.
Yeah, Zuppi is trying to get a little bit of raiding done in the north. He's able to deny Miguel's ability to wall himself in, and he's going to head toward that gold pile. Notably, still no fletching for our player in blue, Zuppi. On the other side of things, Miguel did just get fletching done, so he can get a few skirmishers over and probably stop the bleeding. Things continue to look bad for Zuppi, but he's at least going to give it a go with some raiding.
Yeah, Gonna go in, and he's got the spears there as well, which will help a little bit. I mean, they don't do a lot of damage, but they'll certainly support the archers a little here. But obviously, archers into skirms, it's not the best. And Miguel even going to get +1 defense now as well. But the spearmen are still alive, and the archer, one archer to save the day and maybe just get one more villager kill. It seems unlikely, doesn't it? But Miguel, meanwhile, trying to raid still in the back, but Zuppi's pretty much closed himself in, which is nice, but he isn't protected from those skirmishers. The wall will protect him from the scouts, but the skirms can just fire over the top. So maybe Zuppi needs to come to the wood line in the north, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Zuppi, if he can take land sort of control, it could work out quite nicely for him, but he does need to find a couple more villager kills to stabilize here.
Yeah, Zuppi is a couple vills behind. He's taken a lot of damage. He's lost some big investments like his fishing economy. His attempt at taking those deer on the front was stopped by Miguel. So Miguel's done a lot of great things. But of course, a couple small exchanges going in the favor of Zuppi could really bolster his confidence and get him back in this game. He's still trying to raid Miguel on that top side of the map. He is going to come in with a couple of more spears and a couple more archers. Right now, it is 300 food, about 300 gold for Miguel in the bank. Zuppi's got about 50 of each resource. So maybe Miguel can save up and go to castle a bit sooner than his opponent.
Yeah, possibly. I think in fact, it's probably very likely even that the fact that he's now fishing as well. But yeah, I've got to say this tower from Miguel is just so beautiful, denying all of those deer from Zuppi, but also, he's got 5 villages here, which are just long distance harvesting these deer. And it's so good. Like, it's absolutely worth it when you're the Mongols to do this. You might think, but it's so inefficient. But yeah, but it's free food, and they gather it so quickly. Like, it doesn't matter if they've got to walk a little bit further. It's still worth it. You're taking it from your enemy, you're giving it to yourself. And Miguel here, looking very, very good right now. Zuppi, though, absolutely believes in his ability to hold on. As I say that, he does lose another villager, but he is still holding on, and he will still try and equalize things in this game.
Yeah, it's an extremely open map that Zuppi has done some work to close. He's blocked in some parts, and he's kept at least one gold pile safe. He's got one wood line on the front of his base that you could say is quote-unquote safe. Not really, but at least so far, he's been able to chop wood there.
Messy though, isn't it? Look at it.
Yeah, here comes Miguel with a tower there, too. That's another nice tower for him.
Oh my goodness, and Zuppi is going to have to bring all the villagers off that wood line to try and rush down the tower. Fortunately for Zuppi, Miguel has not bored the base of his tower, so the villagers can come in and try and take that tower out. Zuppi should be able to do that successfully, but in the back comes Miguel with the +1/+1 skirms and the +1 defense scouts with bloodlines coming in now as well. So the potential for Miguel to do damage with these scouts is huge as the extra 20 HP goes on, and Zuppi's economy is just disgusting. It's disgusting. Look at this. Villagers blocking, going down, just doing... it's ugly.
It's not pretty, but that engagement could have gone worse, Zach. It actually is starting to go worse in the north as a few more scouts come from Miguel. I think Zuppi did okay rushing down the tower, lost a lot of eco time, but actually the problem now is that Miguel has a few scouts that are running unabated to these villagers, so a few more villagers going down for Zuppi. Initially, that wasn't so bad for Zuppi, but right now he's getting a lot of damage coming in, and he's going to give the GG. Zach, Miguel made the better set of decisions in that game almost across the board and grabbed a win. Really impressive one to tie this one up. What are your thoughts closing this one out?
Well, I think if Zuppi had perhaps kept his spearmen back at home, maybe these scouts wouldn't have been so much of a problem. But I think in the end, Miguel made a great decision to stay feudal and keep the pressure up. Like, he could have very easily gone to the Castle Age if he didn't build those extra scouts, didn't do bloodlines, didn't do the +1 defense. But he saw an opening, he saw an opportunity, and he pushed it at the right time. Zuppi, of course, there just feeling like that he can't possibly protect this wood line on the front of his base. And as we already saw, the wood line at the back was being harassed as well. So Miguel, in the end, quite a comfortable victory. I think he did really well. But I think Zuppi probably made the biggest mistake this game. And that, as I've said already, was just not laming the boar back. I feel like if he'd have done that, he would have had a much better fighting chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he has to steal back that boar. I think he has to forego the dock and go for a mill and fight for the center of the map. That he could probably have recovered from. But yeah, too much raiding coming from Miguel. The scouts with all that free deer were basically subsidized scouts. So Miguel never really had to stress his economy to keep his push going. Very nice game from Miguel, Zach. And what map do we push to on game number 3? I'm curious now because Miguel looking great on land, Zuppi looking great on water. Is it a land or a
Yeah.
water map in game 3?
Well, game 3 is going to be Valley, but before we look at that, I just wanted to highlight on the achievements there, the food collected. Miguel with 4,600 versus Zuppi's 3,200. That's a 1,400 food advantage in a 23-minute game. Like, that's a huge amount of additional food collected for Miguel, and it shows, right? It shows in his army composition. It shows in his ability to close out that game. And the KD for Miguel there as well, looking pretty snazzy. 38 kills, 23 losses. Quite a comfortable game for Miguel. And like you said, he looked very good on the land. Zuppi looked pretty good on the water. And game 3, it's going to be Valley, which is a land map. So how will that play out?
Can't wait to find out. I guess we'll see here in just a moment. Just got to make sure that the score is correct because, well, we've got a 1-1 tie in this best of 3 series. Should be an exciting one. Go ahead, Zach.
I was going to say, absolutely. It's 1-1 right now, and obviously the winner will go through to the round of 8. We could take a quick look at the bracket just to see what that actually means for the players. That's not the bracket. Let me actually bring the actual bracket up. There it is. We can see that we're actually at the bottom of the bracket now. So the winner of this series will play the winner of Mr. Yo versus Xiao Fan. And obviously, we're going to be catching that later on today, actually. So that will be covered later on. A quick look at the schedule here as well for today. You can see that the next match will be Hira versus Liri, and then Xiaofan versus Mr. Yo. The winner of that, of course, playing against the winner of this series. Hopefully, that's not too confusing. But we have to finish this series first, and that will, of course, be the next game, Valley, to break this 1-1 tie. And we're going to get into that in just a second. If you're ready, Killer B, I know Member's ready with the Spanish stream.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready. Let's do it. I can't wait to see who's going to pull game number 3 out and give their team a chance to win this bracket.
All right, so I'm going to load it up, and we're going to go straight in. All right, everyone, welcome back to Miguel versus Zuppi, best of 3 here. ECL Europe East 1v1, and this is not game 3. It seems I've got the wrong game. We're gonna have to go back because this is actually Scandinavia again, which obviously we just watched. So seems like I made a mistake there. I'm pretty sure I actually loaded the right one up, but let me double check that.
At least you found it early. It would have been pretty embarrassing if we cast that game for like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, that would have been awkward, wouldn't it? Let me figure out what's going on here. Since that should not have happened. It did say that that was game 3, but I don't know, maybe there's a mix-up here. We're going to figure out what's going on. Give us just a moment, guys.
Yeah, well, Zach figures that out. I'll whisper some sweet nothings to you guys. Well, what can we expect later on in the day? Since I won't be casting a lot of these matches later today, maybe I can tell you a little bit about what I'm looking forward to the most. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see Vivi and Xianyu. That will be a good game. Degao versus the Max is probably the one that I'm super interested in. While Zach fixes up this last match for Miguel taking on Zuppi, just wanted to mention that I think Degao and the Max will be a really sneaky close set of games. Degao really in great shape. Can't wait to see what he can do versus the other Suomi man in this tournament. Zuppi and the Max both in the same tournament on different halves of the bracket. Is it all good, Zach? Are we feeling all right here?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why the game is wrong. I'm waiting for Robo to get back to me. If there's ever any issues, you can always blame Robo. That's the rule around here. So just want to clarify something as well for everyone, since the scoreboard says one lost. This is actually sets won, and this is going to be tracked across the whole tournament. So we're going to be tracking the number of sets won by each team throughout the tournament. So although it's 1-1 right now, the sets won is still 0, and the sets lost is still 0. If Miguel were to win this and take it 2-1, then Miguel's team LOS would take a 1-set win, and that will be tracked across all of the games and all of the whole tournament. But right now, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Game 3 here. If we don't have the game right now, we can get it, but we might have to go on to the next set a little bit sooner than anticipated.
Oh,
and we may skip ahead to Hero versus Leary and finish Miguel versus Zuppi a little later. Just waiting to see what Robo has to say about that.
I like that concept of leaving a little drama. Oh yeah, best of 3, game 3. Leave them on the edge of their seats. Yeah, I mean, that series we have coming up later, Hera versus Leary, is going to be really, really nice. Leary, guys, is the second best 1v1 player in the world. I think that's my opinion, and maybe many of your opinions as well. But Hera is one of these guys who he leaves the game for a couple of weeks once in a while and takes some breaks, but he always comes back strong. He's a little bit of an unknown quantity. I mean, I know he's great, but I don't exactly know how great he is right now. Is he in his top shape? If so, he can challenge Leary. We'll have some fun stats for you guys when that series comes up. So look forward to that. That's going to be a great way for Zach and I to move on to the next series after this one.
Yep, looks like I've got the game. Just need a second here to get it into the right place, and then we should be all good. Just going to do that now, and we're all good to go. Robo saves the day, thankfully. That was a close one. But you got it just in the nick of time. Right, we're going to go with Game 3, Valley now, between Miguel and Zuppi to decide who will go forward and who will be going home without any prize money. Of course, it's not the end of the world, since they'll get plenty of opportunities to play again. But right now, both players want to go forward. Both players want to give it their best shot to take the win. Here in game number 3, we have Valley as the map. We have Zuppi and we have Miguel. This is the decider. And this time around, the players had free picks of civs. They could pick any civ they like, regardless of map pool. And it looks like we've got Zuppi on the Malay, and we've got Miguel on the Indians. Killer B, what are you thinking about this?
I'm interested to see what the plan is going to be. By the way, guys, it is the third game of a best of 3, as Zach said, so we got to be really excited about this one coming forward. Either Zuppi or Miguel will win the series, go on and grab some money. I don't really love Malay here. The players do generate very close to each other on the map. You could think of the Malay as a civ because of their faster age upgrade time. They can put a ton of pressure on early. You could go towers, you could go forward and annoying here with Malay, and it might be hard to stop. But Indians for Miguel feels like a little bit more of a safe choice to me. I don't know. Malay, I don't know what the long-term plan is going to be for Zuppi, but I'm sure he's got something in store for us, Zach.
Well, it's worth noting that we are playing with balance patches as well, making the Malay Karambits a little bit more expensive, because a lot of people would agree that the Malay Karambits were maybe not overpowered individually, but when they are used as they are intended in mass, they're almost impossible to stop. Also, I don't know if you've been browsing AoE Zone recently, but there was a video that was posted there last night, and the creator of that video, sorry I've forgotten your name, claimed that the Malay Battle Elephant is the most uncounterable unit in the game, and it's just the best. So maybe Zuppi has some kind of Battle Elephant strat lined up here.
Yeah, it could be possible. I mean, in a 1v1, it can be really hard to get elephants rolling, but as we said, the players are close to each other, and, maybe Zuppi has a trick up his sleeve. We'll find out in a moment. For now, it is 4 Vils on the back wood line for Zuppi. Doesn't say much about his build because he's Malay. Usually you're going to go 4 anyway. Miguel with 4 villagers on the back wood line as Indians. Both guys can wall up a bit. I think the walls are easier for Miguel if he wants to put structure down. Not easy, but easier than Zuppi's map. We'll just see these guys get a little bit of structure up, get their economy rolling. I saw Miguel forward, but he didn't steal anything. He's just back at home grabbing his own sheep. So far, nothing too crazy going on in this match.
Yeah, of course. And, I'm not serious about Zuppi possibly going into War Elephants, not against the Indians. Obviously, the Indians have the best camels in the game, would not necessarily be a wise choice in this matchup, but it is one of those things that I think is overlooked in the Malay tech tree, because they aren't the strongest on paper, but they are a lot cheaper, of course. So anyway, we'll see how things develop. The big thing for the Malay here is, of course, the fact that they will have quite a lot of additional villagers as the game plays out due to their faster uptime. We're expecting Zuppi to have 3 villagers advantage by the time they reach the feudal age here. We'll see if he can make that, maybe not 3, maybe 2, but we'll see if he can make the most of that. Like you say, they are quite close together on this one. And there's a lot of deer in the middle of the map as well. I'll be wondering to see if Miguel might try and make a move for those, like he did in the last game. Of course, this time he's not playing as the Mongols, but he is certainly taking the time to push the deer towards his mill for the time being.
Yeah, and that's a really nice bonus for Miguel on this map. I mean, Zuppi's got berries behind his TC, and he's going to mill those berries, no big deal, and push a few deer in. But Miguel's berries are on the front, and he can drop a mill out there, and he's pushing deer. There's a lot more deer for him to push in, so his mill can do double duty, both berries and deer there. And that can be really great for an Indians player who is going to be able to get up quickly, have a nice little economy rolling. Should be a very nice position for Miguel. What do you think is on Zuppi's mind? I mean, I know you were you're joking a bit about the elephants, but what is his plan with this Malay Civ? He's got a second lumber camp coming down, 2 farms, Zach. It looks like a scout build to me, but I don't know why Malay here exactly. Do you?
Well, I mean, scouts as the Malay is pretty. I mean, I guess you could make it work, but Malay are not a cavalry civ. It's not a civ that you want to go long term into cavalry. I guess scouts in the early game could work just fine, but you don't have the options of bloodlines, even though you could get +1 defense. But yeah, at the moment, he's actually missing 2 sheep, by the way, which I've just noticed off to the left side. But yeah, I mean, he has still got options, right? He could go straight into archers. He could defend from scouts with some spears. He could go into man-at-arms, for example. He certainly has a wide variety of options in the early game. It's more like as the game goes on that he kind of gets shoehorned a little bit into going down the archer line, I feel. For Miguel, though, he's already coming forward with 3 militia right now. He's going 3 on gold as well, so he might consider going for men-at-arms, but the militia are coming really early, so he could also go straight into archers once he reaches feudal with this build.
Yeah, and those men-at-arms on such a short map, they're going to get very quickly across the map into Zuppi's base, and they are already rolling towards Zuppi's berries, or maybe even Zuppi's wood. I think the berries here might be a bit more exposed, and he actually could lose a villager here if the scout blocks.
Yeah, he's using that scout to block really nicely, but Zuppi will break away and the 3 villagers will turn to fight. Good job by Zuppi there, keeping that villager alive. And he does even find his 2 sheep now as well, so that's quite fortunate for him. He has got his barracks up, and once he gets to the feudal age, which is now, we'll see what he does next. It's gonna be... Well, Killer Bee, I don't know what it's gonna be. He's not actually built his building yet. I'm still waiting for it. There it is, it's an archery range. So I think that's pretty expected. He does move out now to take some gold as well on the front. And like I say, defend with spears and go for archers.
Yeah, a bit later to gold than I would have expected for Zuppi, but he is moving over now to that front gold pile. As you said, the range is coming down. For now, it is men-at-arms coming for Miguel. Miguel putting some pressure on, but Zuppi has walled in his back wood line and has kind of abandoned the weaker side of the berries. So for the moment, our player in blue Zuppi is doing all right. He's actually even going to pick off maybe one of these militia before he gets upgraded. So it's okay for Zuppi. He can stabilize this position, but Miguel's archery range is up already, and Miguel is going to be into archers very shortly as well.
Yeah, for sure. And Miguel right now is really doing a good thing by going man-at-arms here, because I think Zuppi was expecting scouts, which is why he made the spearmen, right? It's not uncommon to see the Indians open with scouts, and he saw the drush coming in nice and early. He thought, maybe some scouts will follow this. He did make the spear, but he has now gone into double archery range production. He does have 2 extra villagers, like I spoke about earlier, and so his economy is in a good place. And let's be honest, Miguel's not done that much damage with these men-at-arms right now, and as the game goes on and more archers come out onto the field, those men-at-arms are going to become less and less able to do anything.
Yeah, I was really waiting for Zuppi to put a mining camp down on that back gold pile, but interestingly, the gold pile he took on the front is even safer because the men-at-arms continue to roll around in his base. First couple archers for our player in blue Zuppi, they are roaming to basically clean up those men-at-arms, so that will slow down his aggression, but Miguel is going to bring a couple archers and skirms and try to join his two armies up. If he can do that, those men-at-arms will still be quite useful.
Yeah, Zuppi here gonna be able to get that villager back to safety, I think. I'm just wondering though if he missed a boar.
Yeah, he
Or
did
if
miss a
this
boar
boar,
there.
yeah, like he missed the sheep rages, he missed the boar as well. I mean, to be honest, it didn't seem that obvious because his start seemed to be fairly all right. But yeah, right now he's going to get pushed on the berries again, and still Miguel has not killed a villager yet, but he's certainly harassed and got quite a few villagers quite low. For the time being, though, Zuppi just keeping his cool, trying to hold on and bide his time so we can get a decent army together and take a fight. He does have fletching now, so it could be an opportunity to do some damage before fletching comes in from Miguel. Ideally, he'd like to take out these men-at-arms because they are just going to be a nuisance, but once they're gone, it's going to be easier for him to focus on the ranged units of Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel gets his armies kind of separated. He makes the best out of it by grabbing an archer and putting down some damage, but it does look like Zuppi will micro back from this and deal with a couple more of those men-at-arms. Miguel did get fletching right before this fight went down, but he's going to have trouble reinforcing that army, Zach, because it's kind of cut off. You can actually see Zuppi's scout patrolling the opening in his wall, so he knows that there aren't reinforcements coming for Miguel. He can continue to reinforce. He's actually going to go the other way around the wood line with a couple skirms, and he's going to try to pincer that army from Miguel.
Yeah, and if he can kill that off, then he might be able to sort of shift the focus back towards Miguel's side of the map. Zuppi's in a pretty decent position right now. Like I say, he's still got the 2-villager advantage, though he does have quite a lot of idle time according to the overlay. I'm not sure why that might be, but yeah, I think he was getting idled at the front on his gold for a little while by a couple of skirms from Miguel. So Miguel's doing the eco damage, but he's not killing any villagers, and that could be a problem as the game goes on here.
Yeah, it's a bit weird when you look at the individual idols of Zuppi. He's got 4 idols, now 3, but they're just a couple of vills standing beside the lumber camps, which were idle for quite a while, and 1 villager standing behind his tower. So he's not making the most out of his eco just yet. He's certainly stabilized his position a lot, and it's not that big of a deal. But some kind of uncharacteristic minor misplays, I would say, from Zuppi early on. Missing some sheep, missing some economy, having a couple villagers standing around. But, you know, he showed a lot of poise earlier on in the game, and oh, look at this. He's luring that boar.
Taking the boar, but come on. Right where Miguel's army's standing. I mean, come on, that's ambitious right there. Let's be honest. What was that?
I don't know. Maybe he was hoping that his opponent wouldn't notice. But Miguel...
That is funny.
Miguel will take a free villager there and then get out of dodge.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, if it works, it ain't stupid. Miguel, though, is behind in military count a little bit here. Does have to perhaps concede some map control, but I think he's doing a good job of splitting his army up, keeping Zuppi on his toes. Considering Miguel has less military on the field, he certainly has presence. We're certainly feeling that presence now as he slips through the wall in the south and pushes Zuppi off of that stone right there.
Yeah, Zuppi is roaming into the back of Miguel's base with some archers, but they've yet to find any damage. He will eventually circle around toward those far back wood lines, but he hasn't scouted inside of Miguel's base at all. So it's going to take him a little while to find where to do damage, but eventually those units will become activated. Our Indians player should be clicking up in a moment after grabbing wheelbarrows, 600 food, 300 gold in the bank for Miguel. Zuppi will be a little later, but because of his faster uptime, it will probably be a pretty similar time to Castle.
Absolutely, he can afford to click up, you know, almost a minute and a half after his opponent and still reach Castle at about the same time. So Zuppi right now finally gets a good fight. Like, he's been looking for this for a while. Miguel's been caught out. He lost a few archers on him in the middle of the map, and meanwhile he's also raiding at the back. There's a few little skirmishes going on simultaneously around the map, and I've got to say right now it does seem to be looking quite positive for Zuppi at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Zuppi found the soft underbelly of Miguel's economy. Miguel will come back with a couple skirms and push Zuppi away, but a couple villagers dead, and two wood lines that had about 15 villagers working, maybe a dozen villagers working, are both idle for the moment. We will see another army coming from Zuppi, who continues to put pressure on here in the feudal age. He spent a lot of resource, Zach, on 26 military. Miguel is trying to get up, but he could get punished because he doesn't have enough at home, I don't think, to defend.
Absolutely, and one of his ranges is also idle as well, so he's not producing enough here. He is adding a stable and some scouts, which is going to be great for pushing back the skirms, but Zuppi's really pushing around all over the map. He's got the army at the back, he's got the army in the south, he's even got a small army in the north as well. So splitting into three little groups, trying to raid, try and keep the pressure on. But like you say, Miguel has now clicked up to the castle age. Is Zuppi anywhere near? He's close, but he won't be up before Miguel. He won't be able to take advantage of his civ bonus to get up faster than his opponent here. He's actually genuinely going to be a little bit slower.
Yep, he's going to be slower up to Castle Age, and we do see that stable, like you said, down from Miguel. So if Miguel wants to try to flip the script with some cavalry to go along with his archers, he can try to get some raiding. For now, Zuppi just continues to hide in the fog of war in the back of Miguel's base. He's actually bringing another army forward, and this could come back and bite him, Zach. Having two armies of archers and skirms there that are probably going to get caught out by Castle Age units in a couple of minutes. That's a big chunk of army for him.
That's true, actually. I mean, I imagine that Miguel's immediately going to start training camels and try and catch this army out. There's not many archers there, so the camels should quite easily cut through that and take down those skirms. But Zuppi seems to have brass balls right now as he's coming in, knowing full well that Miguel's in castle, and maybe thinking, hey, well, I might lose my army being caught out in the open. Let's try and just do what damage I can. Let's try and kill as many villagers as possible before the camels come out and start to clean me up. And to be honest, that seems to be working out fantastically well for Zuppi. He'll kill 4 or 5 villagers back here before he finally has to run away. And yeah, maybe he'll lose that whole army to the camels now, but the damage has been done.
Yeah, I don't think that army was making it home for Christmas, no matter how you play it. So dive in, get some damage. I love the aggression from these two guys. As you said, this is not just a friendly best of 3. This is probably the biggest tournament that they've ever played in. And of course, they want to start it off on the right foot. And both guys are playing without a lot of fear, and we've seen a lot of backbone from these guys, not breaking under pressure. Castle Age in for Zuppi, crossbowman, bodkin arrow coming. Miguel will clean that small army, but it's 20-ish military for both guys. It's about a 10-villager advantage for Zuppi after that raiding. Another TC coming down for the blue player. It's looking pretty good for Zuppi.
Yeah, his economy should carry him through here in theory, right? I mean, you've seen already how he's going to naturally get a villager advantage thanks to his faster upgrade speed. Now being 10 villagers ahead in the early Castle Age, it's a huge amount. It's a huge amount of ground that Miguel has to make up now. He either has to kill villagers back, or he has to, get an extra TC up sooner, or even a 4th TC and try and catch up in villager count quickly. Right now, Miguel looking for an opportunity to raid, but Zuppi, good reactions, spots it, and garrisons in the TC. Miguel knows he's been spotted, and knows there's not a lot he can do with this army back here. Zuppi's even got his eye on him. He knows exactly where he is, and I think Miguel might just get trapped back here.
Yeah, Miguel going really deep into the back of the map and not finding a way out. Unfortunately, he's hiding there for now, actually. Zuppi will go by. So, yeah, hiding in the fog of war works in this case. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, Zuppi is not under a lot of pressure. His TC location there on the back corner, it protects a lot. A couple of gold piles and a wood line. We are going to need to see another wood line solidified with the TC probably pretty soon for Zuppi, I would think. His wood economy could be a bit precarious. But outside of that, there's not so many problems for Zuppi.
No, he's in a pretty nice spot, isn't he? I mean, the score may be a little bit misleading even here. It's showing that Miguel has the score lead. But at the moment, Zuppi, I'd say, is in a great spot. But still, those crossbows coming in from Miguel, forcing him to delay that TC. He won't lose it. He's got enough health on it to keep it up. But he should be able to catch this crossbow army. Now, what I want to see is Zuppi try and wall this crossbow army in, so he's guaranteed to get the kill. I think he needs to try and close the gap. Miguel trying to juke him out a little bit just to try and catch him. But I think Zuppi should have a good shot at cleaning this whole army up right now. He needs to get some walls perhaps toward the TC. But nah, Zuppi's close enough to finish it off. and well, that's going to put him in a comfortable lead.
Yeah, Zuppi cleans up. Cleanup on aisle 3 is complete. We do see more camels coming out for Miguel, trying to get a decent number of those units up to either A, catch a small army out, or B, dive in and do some raiding. Forward Siege Workshop will come as well for the player in red, so we will see maybe some mangonels to go along with his army. Zuppi has mostly been building crossbows and skirms, so a few mangonels could be very nice to keep up the pressure. On the blue side of things, though, we see a university coming up. No Siege Workshop for him yet. So we'll see. I mean, Zuppi here has a moment to do some damage with his crossbows, but it looks like Miguel might want to make a push soon.
Yeah, I just had the monastery coming up for Miguel as well. So Siege Workshop and monastery. I was just going to say he doesn't have any upgrades on his camels, but he is now completing upgrades as well, just doing +1 defense, which is actually +2, since the Indians get a +1 for free, and bloodlines as well. So it's good to see he's actually getting those upgrades on. But Zuppi, meanwhile, has added a 4th town center. He is not letting any ground go in terms of this economy right now. And Zuppi Miguel on the other hand, only on 3 TCs. Zuppi's just going to keep that lead. And I do wonder, how is he going to, how is Miguel, that is, going to do enough damage here in the Castle Age? He needs to hit some big mangonel shots. He needs to get some good engagements. And I think he needs to try and stall this game out to the Imperial Age. I think if he gets to the post-Imperial stage of the game, then Miguel could have a good shot as the Indians. I feel like his post-Imperial should give him a lot more to play with. But right now, he's certainly feeling the heat.
Yeah, I think that Zuppi here is making an interesting call, Zach. He's sending a huge part of his army all the way into the back of Miguel's base again. Miguel this time does have a TC up on that wood line, so he's not nearly as raidable. Let's see if Zuppi can get some damage here, but while the cats are away, the mice will play, and if the red player is going to make a push with mangonels on the front, it's going to be not so challenged. Mangoes and camels there with no army really to defend from Zuppi.
Yep, Zuppi dropping down a market to buy a castle there, by the way. He's rushing that up now because he knows that a castle will stop that aggression dead in its tracks. So meanwhile, his own raiding has already done damage, but will continue to do damage. Whereas that one castle, which I hear just went up, will essentially make this attack null and void. It's not going to do anything. You can't return this attack to the store, unfortunately. But yeah, it looks to me like Zuppi definitely came out better after that little engagement there.
Yeah, interesting to note that Zuppi powered down that market, like you said, with like a dozen vills, and then powered down the castle with about 20 vills. Big investment, but I think that's what he had to do to keep the game, to keep the position alive. Like you said, castle takes all of the momentum out of that push, and now a couple of Karambit are on the field. They're going to be grabbing down 2 mangonels for cheap, and then probably a monk for cheap, because all that monk got to do was convert a Karambit.
Yeah, obviously right now Karambits are a little more expensive, so it's not so easy to say how effective they're going to be. For that purpose right there, they were perfect, able to take down 2 mangonels. That's a great trade, but this is not a good trade. Zuppi losing so many crossbows to these camels, and those Imperial camels, man, they are beefy. They've got 3 pierce armor, 120 health, and a lot of that army comprised of skirmishers as well. So for Zuppi, maybe not a good trade for him in the end at all. Yes, he killed a few villagers from Miguel, but he ends up losing so much army for very, very little.
Yeah, those Indian camels, man, they are really scary. And as you said, that whole group goes down for pretty cheap. And the Indians, of course, don't have so much problem continuing to pump out those camels. Miguel is on the way to husbandry. Indian economy kind of allows you to get a lot of those units out. But a great defense from Zuppi, grabbing the mangoes down. He alleviates all the pressure Miguel was trying to put down on him. And Miguel is 20 villagers behind as Zuppi is on equal turf militarily. Probably a higher quality military for Miguel, but where can he do damage? I don't know if he can do it anywhere because there's a lot of stone walls up.
Maybe he can do damage in the north right now, but I think Zuppi, close. I was going to say maybe you could wall it up or close it off, but has Miguel even noticed? He just ran straight through, and it looks like those villagers may just continue to wall behind it. So he may just complete those walls in the end anyway. But yeah, Zuppi here, like you say, a 20 villager advantage. Those villagers, of course, going to be really bolstering his resource income. It might allow him to reach the Imperial Age a little bit faster as well. And it looks like he will be clicking up to the Imperial Age very shortly here. But still, like you say, the quality of Miguel's army is that much higher. These camels are doing damage. They are tanking damage. And there's a mangonel now on the front following up the rear as well. We'll see if Zuppi can get this castle up or not. It looks likely that he will.
Yeah, I think Zuppi will get that castle up, but the mangonel may get a really nice shot in.
He's actually running away from the castle here. He's bailing on it for now. I think he'll get it up eventually. I don't see a world where Zuppi can't complete that castle. But yeah, it's still a difficult one for Zuppi to fight because the mangonel at the back was threatening so much damage that he had to run away with the crossbows.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we'll see Miguel diving in the back of Zuppi's economy with a couple of camels. Those camels may not find paid earth. There's not so many easy places to raid inside of Zuppi's base. Zuppi on 4 TCs, by the way, and has completed a lot of stone walls around his map. So a pretty safe map for Zuppi once he mops up these last couple camels. That castle on the front, although it went up dramatically, did go up, and the karambit numbers continue to increase. So, Zach, karambit spam is coming your way. You're playing as Indians. What's your plan here?
Well, I was going to say, like these karambits, they are... Well, they are very much in meta in the existing meta game pre-balanced patch.
Mm-hmm.
And the balanced patch that we have implemented into this tournament, I believe it makes them cost 10 more gold. So they are a lot more expensive than they once were. But it still seems like Zuppi believes they're the way to go. And I have to think, it could still work out really well for him because the karambit is just such a strong unit since they can be massed up so easily, so cheaply, and so quickly. However, it is going to be a little harder now, and I want to see how that will affect things. As you said, though, what is Miguel going to do? I think Miguel's just going to stick with the camels. You can see he's still got more stables down, and the heavy camel, the Imperial camel, one of the beefiest units that Miguel can make, aside from, of course, the elephant archers, but that's not really an option.
Yeah, Miguel's got another TC down, a 4th town center to try to solidify things. He also dropped a castle closer to his eco and production buildings, so he's kind of turtling up. He's waiting for the karambit spam. If he can survive a couple of waves of karambit, maybe he can get on his feet with camel upgrades. 3 more stables coming for our player in red, Miguel. His camels inside of Zuppi's eco have been annoying, but right now he is going to be under pressure from Arbalest in a decent number from Zuppi, maybe about 15 or 20 there, and lots of karambit.
Yeah, I'd love to see elephant archers, but they're just so expensive. You just can't get enough of them up. And although they're so good at taking out other archer units, and they'd probably be quite effective versus karambits as well, it's just too slow and too expensive for it to be a really viable option for Miguel right now. He is going for that heavy camel route, which I think is sensible, but that's a lot of Arbalest right there, and they've got Bracer. Zuppi as well, behind the Arbalest, is starting to mass up more and more karambits, and the karambits, it's really just about the numbers. Individually they're weak, but together they are very, very strong.
Yeah, we'll see if Zuppi can synergize some Arbalest and karambit spam action. He's now standing in the middle of Miguel's eco, basically daring Miguel to come and take over this army. We will see Elite Skirm coming from Miguel to try to help mitigate some of the Arbalest damage. He is also on the way to Heavy Camel, which takes a little while, but Plate Barding armor will be in soon as well. So our red player can push this back soon, but right now Zuppi continues to stand on top of the farms of Miguel.
Yep, and Miguel at the moment, he finally gets Heavy Camel, but he doesn't quite have enough to afford Imperial Camel. It takes him a while to get these techs in, right? It takes him quite some time. Whereas Zuppi, on the other hand, already has a lot of crossbows. He can immediately make Arbalest, and he can immediately be a thorn in the side of Miguel. Miguel, I think, has to buy time. He has to be very patient here, and he has to wait until he can get his techs before he can take an engagement. So Miguel, he's probably going to be waiting for Imperial Camel. He's probably going to try and avoid taking a fight until he can take the best fight possible, and that's going to be Imperial Camel with the huge pierce armor, the extra health, and all of that good stuff. And there it comes now. Imperial Camel for Miguel, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah, and the Imperial upgrade, Imperial Camel upgrade coming 5th town center as well for Miguel, maybe even 6. I don't even know. But he's protecting his eco with TCs right now, and like you said, he can't afford to engage until he gets the Imperial Camel upgrade. It's just not going to be cost effective enough. The Karambit spam is not exactly spam yet. Miguel has built some Karambit. A lot of them are inside his own eco, still looking around. Zuppi looking around for Miguel's camels. Zuppi here is, I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. Maybe transitioning units away. He's going to get a barracks down now to maybe try to counter those Imperial camels.
Well, he just actually grabbed the first relic, and I think that's great for him, since he has good map control right now. Grabbing the relics, a very sensible thing to do. But here comes Miguel, the Imperial Camel. It's about to come in. He sends all the camels forward. He tries to get in there as close as those Arbalestas as possible. And those Imperial Camels are about to upgrade, and he should clean this up quite comfortably. In fact, you know, he didn't even need Imperial Camel to make it work. He just saw those Arbalesta out of position, and he took the opportunity to swing and strike. And he struck hard. But there go the Karambit warriors, and it looks like Miguel might even have to run back from there. Zuppi immediately queuing the Karambits from the castle. Look at this. Look at this flood of units coming across the map. Can Miguel hold on? I don't know.
It doesn't look so good for him. He had a moment there where Zuppi was pop-capped and not able to get Halbs out onto the field, but now that there's Halbs and Karambit and a couple of Arbalest still going, it's a real problem. There isn't too much going on raiding anymore for either player. It's just this big bludgeoning push coming in from our blue player, Zuppi. Zuppi is really hard to break as Indians right now without any siege, just going the Imperial Camel route only. Doesn't look like Miguel's going to be able to do much against Karambits, which are now spamming up in the north of his economy as well.
Yep, they pushed him off gold there. They're trying to raid a little bit. Miguel going for a castle there, and the Karambits are immediately going to spot it. Zuppi wheeling around. There are camels here. We'll see how this fight goes. I feel like the camels should win this quite comfortably, in fact. But the numbers for Zuppi, it's so huge because now he can start pushing into Miguel's base as well. And he can just push on multiple fronts at all times. And Miguel either has to keep his army together or get spread too thinly. He's certainly treading a fine line right now, as map control just seems a thing of the past for Miguel at the moment.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about cost effectiveness for Zuppi, he's been bumping around the pop cap for a long time now, and he's got about 1.5k food, 1.5k gold, and almost 2k stone in the bank. So lots of castles, lots of gold can be dropped from our blue player. He's in the driver's seat. Miguel continues to try to tread water. He is going to get elite skirm out, but this is pretty dire, Zach. This could be over here.
Yeah, Zuppi is super rich. He's in a great position. Like I said before, he's grabbing the relics as well. Miguel is pushed to the limit right now as he completes chemistry, perhaps looking for some hand cannons, but it could be a little bit too little, a little bit too late for Miguel, as Zuppi comes through with the Trebs, starts raiding a bit more with the Halbs and with the Karambits as well, being a real nuisance here, and basically splitting Miguel's economy in half, or maybe not quite in half, but, you know, splitting that area in the north off from the main economy. He's really trying to get the skirm numbers up. I think that's pretty smart, but I think adding some hand cannons could be huge. The problem that he has right now is lack of gold. Doesn't have a huge amount of gold in the bank, and I guess it's up to him. Does he decide to spend that gold on camels, or does he decide to spend it on some hand cannons? He's got to decide wisely.
Yeah, chemistry coming in for Miguel now, so he can start to build out some hand cannons. Indians have good hand cannons with Chattagny, right? But at this point, it's so hard to foresee, as you said, like the critical mass of hand cannons that you would need to defend against all of this spam. We'll see if he can make it happen. He's got to make something happen because the castle in the north is dropping for Miguel. It's getting trebbed down by Zuppi. Zuppi is also raiding with just a couple of trash units in the south, and yeah, there's just so many bad things going on here for Miguel.
But if Miguel can get a decent army together, you know, his army is going to be more population efficient. He is going to be able to field a stronger army, perhaps take the momentum back. He's going to go for it now. He's sending the camels forward. Camels not getting the engagement they wanted. He's trying to use the camels to try and get to the back lines and take down the Arbalest. Meanwhile, Zuppi on the front trying to take down those skirms. It's hard to say who's winning out on this one, but it looks to me like it's going to be Zuppi again.
Yeah, that fight. Yeah, that fight went pretty nicely for Zuppi. It's just the last nail in the coffin. Miguel gives the GG. Good luck next. The Malay here for Zuppi, Zach, they looked pretty great on this map. It looked like he was ahead for almost the entire game due to that Malay uptime bonus.
Absolutely. I mean, he had a 2 villager advantage in feudal. By castle, he had a 10 villager advantage. By late castle, he had a 20 villager advantage. And yeah, I mean, he was forced at one point to drop down and mark it and buy a castle to defend the front of his base, but that proved to be more than worth it. It saved his bacon a little bit as Miguel was pushing in with mangonels, and it basically stopped that in its tracks. And then he knew, once he got to the Imperial Age, he could upgrade his base of crossbows to Arbalest, win back some map control, and with that, make that transition into Halbs and Karambits, and just overwhelm Miguel with a huge amount of pressure. And this is the problem that Miguel has. His units are more expensive. His units take longer to train. His units take longer to upgrade. And by the time he's got a few of them together, Zuppi's got like 5 times as many Karambits on the field, and he can just swarm around you and clean you up. So it was really well played by Zuppi. I think the Malay are a fantastic civ, and even with the nerf to the Karambits here, they were still very, very instrumental in his success in that game.
Yeah, and great point remembering the market. That was actually a key moment. I think our player, Miguel here playing as the Indians, wanted to make a late Castle Age push. That castle drop, buying it up, really killed that push completely. And from then on, it was all Zuppi. So really nice play from the Zuppi. And like I said, this is the guy Viper said that he's most interested in watching and maybe most worried about on the Suomi team. So don't count Zuppi out, guys. He'll take the win here, and he'll move on to the next set. And I guess we'll move on to the next set as well, right?
Absolutely. You said that Viper's most worried about Zuppi. I guess the question is, will Viper have to play versus Zuppi in this bracket?
No, I don't.
Like they're on the same
Are they? Okay.
here.
I don't know if I'm misspeaking about worried, but we were talking and I was saying, like, who do you foresee being the 1v1 player for Finland? And he was saying, Zuppi, if that guy gets practice, he's pretty beastly. So yeah, maybe we'll see Viper and Zuppi at some point in this 1v1 stage. But for now, I guess we'll move on whenever you're ready. Really great set, Zach. Really great best of 3.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I thought both played very well. We had some really nice games, especially the Baltic game, and that last game as well was really good too. Good to see some non-mirror civ action as well, where that comes into play. Obviously, they use hidden civs, so they don't know what their opponent's actually picking until they get into the game. But as you can see by the bracket, Zuppi will move on. He will play the winner of Zhaofan versus Mr. Yo, which is going to be coming up today on the stream a little bit later on. That's going to be T90 and Resonance 22 casting that one together. Exciting stuff. But me and Killer B and I have one more game to cast before we hand over to T90 and Rez. We have Hira versus Lyri.